Shraddha, we are live. Can you please unmute yourself?
Shall I start talking now?
Yes, yes, we are live.
Okay. All right. Hello, guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to whatever part of the world you are. My name is Shraddha Jaiswal. I'm a senior verbal expert at e-GMAT. And as promised, we are going to talk about the verb ing modifiers in this session. And yes, this modifier continues to be a very difficult modifier because it can act as a noun modifier and act as an action modifier, so on and so on and so forth. And there are other intricacies also that we need to look into when it comes to the usage of verb ing modifiers. So let's begin, and let's begin with the goals of this session. Again, the goal of the session is to definitely solve the questions pertaining to verb ing modifiers, but also through this session, we will show you the application of the unique meaning-based approach that e-GMAT came up with. Payal Tandon, she introduced this approach, and now we are at the third iteration of it. So we are also going to show the application of this approach on and how beautifully it works on each and every question, be it difficult, be it medium, be it easy. However, in this session, we are only going to solve difficult OG questions. Okay, so before I start throwing the questions at you, or before we start solving the questions, let's revise the concept a little bit. Let's just get our feet a little wet. Now, the first thing is that we understand that verb ing modifiers, they modify not just one entity, but a few entities. So what are these entities? Mainly, a verb ing modifier modifies noun entity and some action. Okay. Now, when it modifies noun, it's very simple. When a verb ing modifier modifies the noun, it actually presents the action that the noun entity is performing. All right, that's what is denoted by the action presented through the verb ing modifier, and we'll take examples. I'll explain that. I'll clarify it further. Also, uh, when it comes to action, yes, verb ing modifiers, they are used with comma. It's comma plus verb ing modifier. It is placed after a clause, and it either describes the action, the preceding action, or it presents the result of that action. Now, we can make a further bifurcation here. When we say it describes the preceding action, it does so in two ways. The first is generic description. What do we mean by generic description? Suppose there is a statement that is made through the main clause, and then we have comma plus verb ing modifier. So that modifier can actually present a piece of information that actually goes to substantiate the action in the preceding clause. And those of you who did the Caspian Sea question, um, um, I mean, we floated that question as a pre-exercise for you. So if you did that question, that's exactly what is happening in that official question, where the comma plus, I think it's resulting, or I'm not sure, I'm forgetting the exact verbiage of it, but yeah, over there also we have comma plus verb ing modifier that actually substantiates the statement given in the main clause. The second part of it is that it presents explicit information, which is the how aspect of the action. How the action is done is also presented through the usage of the comma plus verb ing modifier. So this is about the modifications and different kinds of ways in which a comma plus verb ing modifier that acts as an action modifier work. Now, if you look at our e-GMAT free trial, we have actually made very complex modifiers free for everyone to access. All you need to do is go to the e-GMAT, e-gmat.com, just register yourself for free. There is no charge, nothing, and you can actually go through these difficult concepts for free, right? And yeah, everybody should actually take an advantage of that. That's a very good, lot of good concepts there. Now, let's take a look at the verb ing modifiers, how it works when it modifies a noun. Generally, a modifier, it must have it must have three characteristics. The first one is that it must make sense with the entity that it modifies. The second one is about the precise placement of this modifier in the sentence. The third aspect you see is it must not bring any ambiguity. That means the modification should be absolutely clear, no ambiguity whatsoever. So let's take a look at this very simple sentence. Wearing a black shirt, Joe played with the puppy. So, when we try to understand the meaning of the sentence, we understand that Joe was wearing a black shirt when he was playing with the puppy, right? So here, wearing a black shirt is actually a noun modifier. Why? Because it only associates with Joe. It gives us additional information about Joe. What was Joe wearing? Joe was wearing a black shirt. So our first criteria, that is making sense, is checked through this sentence. Now, placement of this modifier is also correct because it is placed right in the beginning of the sentence. Now, when we have a verb ing modifier placed in the beginning of the sentence, it can modify only the subject or it can modify the entire clause. How do we make that determination? That whether the opening verb ing modifier is modifying the subject or the entire clause? Well, the context of the sentence and the meaning presented by the sentence. Here, it doesn't make sense to say that wearing a black shirt has got any connection with the action of playing with the puppy because it does not matter what color shirt Joe is wearing. The fact remains that he played with puppy. He could play with the puppy in a black shirt, in a red shirt, in a yellow shirt, or no shirt for that matter. But what we understand is that wearing a black shirt is a very specific piece of information that is talking about only Joe. So this is what we have here. Now, so placement is absolutely fine. It is placed in the beginning of the sentence. Then we see brings no ambiguity. Is there any ambiguity about who was wearing a black shirt in the sentence? Most definitely not. So this sentence is, sorry about that. This sentence is also absolutely unambiguous. It presents absolutely clear meaning. Now let's do a little bit of shuffling over here. Let's just change the structure of this sentence a little bit. What we did here is that we started the sentence with the subject and then we placed the modifier in between the subject Joe and the verb played. Now, when we did so, what we did is that we added two commas, one before the modifier and the other after the modifier. And when we do so, we encapsulate or we enclose this noun modifier between two commas. Just a quick note over here. We can also write this sentence, okay? We can also write this sentence without these two commas in example 2, okay? If we choose to remove the commas, then we must make sure that we are removing the commas, both the commas basically. We are removing the comma before wearing and we are removing the comma after shirt also. But if we decide to put this modifier between two commas, then the both presence of both the commas must be there. Now, once again, because it is placed right after Joe, there is no doubt about it that wearing a black shirt is again talking about Joe. It is placed correctly because it is placed next to Joe, and there is no ambiguity whatsoever. Another variation of this sentence with a little bit of change in the wording: Joe played with the puppy wearing a black collar. So, what is the difference here? What we see here is that now wearing a black collar, and we know that only pets wear collar. So, that's why this modifier, wearing a black collar, has been placed right next to puppy. There is no comma, nothing at all. And that's how we use a noun verb ing modifier to describe the preceding noun. So, these are different structures in which we can use the verb ing noun modifier. Always remember this modifier, that's our takeaway, that a verb ing noun modifier provides additional information about the noun that is placed next to it. And another thing to notice over here is that the the action presented by this modifier wearing over here, it presents an action that is done by the modified noun. For example, Joe himself was wearing a black shirt. Puppy was wearing a black collar. So this is a distinction. We have verb ed modifier and we have verb ing modifiers, but here lies the distinction. Always keep that in mind, that the action presented by the verb ing modifier is the action done by the modified noun. All right, now let's take a look at verb ing modifiers that modify actions. And here where things get a little more complicated, as we already discussed in the slide before this, that we can divide the action modifiers in three functions. It either describes the preceding clause, either it presents the how aspect of it, or it presents the result of it. So let's take a few examples for all these different functions. Amy skipped school giving the excuse of stomach ache. So Amy skipped school. And then how did she do that? Here we are saying that she gave excuse of stomach ache. And this is how we know that she skipped school. Next example we see here is that the startup closed all its operation, and citing, so what was the reason given by the startup? Citing political instability as the primary reason. So again, we have main clause here, and the comma plus verb ing modifier presents some information to support the main clause, to support the modified action. Okay. Then let's take a look at the how aspect. Arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern, Mary made a beautiful bouquet. All right, so we know that the main point of the sentence is that Mary made a beautiful bouquet. And how did she do so? She did so by arranging rare exotic flowers in a very nice symmetric pattern. Now, when it comes to the structure of this sentence, many people may ask, hey, can we place this modifier after the clause? Yes, we can certainly do so. We can write the sentence as Mary made a beautiful bouquet, comma, arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern, full stop. And that meaning is absolutely identical to the meaning presented by this sentence. Okay. So, this is the example for this. Same as with example 7 here. Singing a beautiful song, Sam mesmerized everyone present in the room. Again, the verb ing modifier, which is placed in the beginning of the sentence, is presenting how Sam mesmerized everyone. That is by singing a beautiful song. Once again, this modifier can also be placed after room. So we will have room, comma, singing a beautiful song. So when it comes to the how aspect, the modifier can be written either before the modified clause or after the modified clause. Let's talk about the last function here, presenting the result. Mary made a beautiful bouquet, winning accolades from everyone. So Mary made a beautiful bouquet, and what was the result of that action? She won accolades or appreciations from everyone. Same goes with example 9. BP Corporation drilled deep sea oil wells. And what was the result of drilling deep sea oil wells? The company, in the process, ended up destroying the coral reefs. So the two comma plus verb ing modifiers that we see here present the result of the modified action. Now, about the structure, you may ask a question here that now can we put these modifiers in the beginning of example 8 and 9? Can we start examples 8 and 9 with the modifier? The answer is no. When a comma plus verb ing modifier is used to present the result of an action, it must always and always be placed after the clause. That's a very important point about the usage of the comma plus one verb ing modifier when it is used to present the result. Okay. So, once again, if you study all these sentences, you will understand that none of the modifiers bring about any ambiguity in the meaning. The meaning is absolutely clear. They make sense in modifying the action that they are talking about. And also, there is one very distinct, I would say it's a criterion for the correct usage of the verb ing modifier. It's that the doer of the modifier action and the doer of the modified action must be the same. And you can actually see this in each and every sentence that we have used here. Who gave the excuse for skipping school? It is Mary. So Mary skipped school as she gave the excuse of stomachache. The startup closed. They closed all operations. But who cited the political instability or whatever reason they give? It was the startup itself. And that is true of every single sentence that you see here, that the verb ing modifier, the action modifier, in modifying the action also must logically associate with the doer of the modified action. All right. This is also one point of a criterion to keep in mind for the correct usage of the comma plus verb ing modifier. Also, we spoke about how we cannot put winning accolades from everyone before I mean in the beginning of the sentence when it comes to using the comma plus verb ing modifier to present the result. We cannot use it we cannot write them in the beginning of the sentence. Why? Because cause and effect always happens in a sequence. Always the cause happens first and then the action, then the result happens. So in order to maintain that sequence between cause and result, cause and effect, the comma plus verb ing modifiers specifically used to present result of an action is always written after the modified action. All right. So these are few of the things that we understood. This is a general structure of the correct usage of comma plus verb ing modifier. It must be placed after a complete clause which has a subject and a verb, and then there must be a comma, and then there should be the comma plus verb ing modifier. Right? So we pay attention to the structure, we pay attention to the meaning, and we keep this point in mind as well, that along with the logical modification, the modifier action must also logically associate with the doer of the modified action. Okay. Now, these are the 3 points that we discussed while doing the noun modifier also. So these are the points that you must bear in mind while applying these modifiers in the sentence. Okay, and this is true for both sorts of modifiers: verb ing modifier as an action modifier and verb ing modifier as a noun modifier. And how do we understand whether a modifier has been used to modify an action or a noun? Once again, context governs the usage. We first read the sentence, we understand the meaning conveyed by the sentence, we try to process whether that meaning is logical or not, and on that basis we ascertain whether the verb ing modifier used in that sentence has been used to modify a noun or an action. And we will see all of this when we solve the question. So the key remains here is that the first thing that you do with an SC problem is that you don't look at the answer choices. You only concentrate on the original sentence and you try to understand the meaning of it. Okay. Once again, these are the free supplement lessons. It is on till, I'm sorry about the dates here, but oh no, yeah, the dates are fine. Right. So these are available only till Saturday. Make the best use out of it. Click on this access button and it should work with you. Or my Juhi is here from e-GMAT. She's going to provide you with all the links that you require to get all these free supplement lessons for your preparation. Okay. Get a hang of what we do at e-GMAT, how we teach at e-GMAT. Okay, moving further, now we have come to a point in our presentation where we will start solving official questions. I have 4 questions for you in here. Okay, all our official questions, all are 700 level questions. Now, please pay attention to these instructions. Polls will be given to you in form of links. When you those links will be provided in the chat box. You click on that link, it will take you to MS Office, and from there you will be able to answer the question. Please do not respond in the chat box, because your response can actually it can bias somebody else's response. So please refrain yourself from writing the response in the chat box. Also, you will solve the questions first. Once I get a good number of attempts on the same, we are going to discuss that question in detail, but you will get around 2 minutes to solve each and every question. So get ready. Also, if you want, keep a pen and paper ready. You might want to make a note of the answer choice that you selected, in case if you kind of during our discussion, if you forget that which answer choice you chose. Okay, so with this, I guess we are all ready. Let's go then, and let's see the first question. Okay, here comes your first question, and I'll give you about 2 minutes. I'm just starting my timer here. Okay, and your time starts now. All the best. All right, let's wind this up in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. I do see the link. Look at that GMAT answer question 1 here. That link should take you to the, yep, it takes you to the first question. If you guys need a little more time, I can do so, but the link is right there. That should work. Yeah, I've gotten more responses on this one. All right. Take 1 extra minute. Once you're done, you guys can just let me know that you're done in the chat box, and then we can start. All right. So let's talk about this sentence. Pretty interesting. I'm looking at your poll results, which looks pretty good. Most of the votes came for choice C. We have a few votes for choices A and E, but no votes for choices B and D. So looks like that you guys have a good hang over the meaning approach. Anyway, let's talk about this sentence now. Now, as we always do at e-GMAT, we are going to read this sentence and we are going to break it. We are going to read it in smaller chunks. So let's begin. In 1974, something happened in 1974. What happened? A large area of the surface of Mercury was photographed. Okay. So somebody took pictures of a huge area of the Mercury, the surface of the Mercury, from varying distance. Okay, so the photographs were taken from different distances, which revealed a degree of cratering. Okay, so something revealed a degree of cratering on the surface of Mercury similar to that of the moons. That means the cratering that was found on the surface of the Mercury was pretty similar to the cratering that is found on moon. Okay, so that way the sentence it presents logical meaning. I mean, we understand that what the sentence is trying to say here. It's presenting all these information that you see on your screen, and putting everything together, we can understand that the sentence presents logical meaning. At least we can put all the different aspects in the sentence together, the logical points in the sentence together, to understand the meaning of this sentence. Okay. So now that we do that, let's take a look. Now that we have understood the meaning, now let's take a look at the grammar of the sentence. Now, when I read this sentence, the usage of this which kind of, I was like, what is this which really talking about? Now, I asked myself, is the usage of which correct in this sentence? Because the usage of which tells me that it is varying distances that reveal the degree of cratering. But that is not the correct answer, because from the context of the sentence, I can understand that the photographs that were taken probably revealed the degree of cratering. So I know this for sure that the usage of this noun modifier which is absolutely incorrect here, because the varying distances did not reveal the cratering. It is the photographs that did so. So, well, for sure, I mean, of course, we understand the meaning, but we know also for sure that now the grammar is also off in this sentence. I mean, the grammar is off in this sentence. So that's my error in this choice, uh, original sentence. Now, there is another thing that I looked at, and that was the last part of the sentence, similar to that of the moons. Now, this phrase, that of, already presents the sense of possession. It that say the button of a shirt, which means that the button belongs to the shirt. So when we say cratering of the moon, we understand that we are talking about the cratering that belongs to moon. But then again, the sentence uses another possessive over here in form of moon. So this usage is also incorrect, because if we write this whole sentence, I mean, if we expand it, this is what it's going to read like: similar to a degree of cratering of moon's degree of cratering. And we understand that the usage of two possessions, two possessive or two expressions presenting possession, is absolutely wrong. So my original sentence has, even if the meaning is absolutely fine, it has two grammatical errors: usage of which and usage of moons. Either we remove that off or we just keep it moon. So we'll have to look at these, we'll have to keep these points in mind, and then we move ahead with our answer choice analysis. So here we go. Choice A is definitely wrong. Very few of you landed on choice A. So you now understand what's going on with this one. Nobody selected choice B. Of course, the usage of to reveal is incorrect over here, because there is no intent given there. So the meaning wise, there is an issue over here. A degree of cratering similar to the moon. The comparison is also off. So I'm guessing that most of you rejected choice B on the basis of the second error, where you understand that the degree of cratering has been compared to the moon. So that's why choice B is off. Choice C indeed is the correct answer, and most of you did land on this answer choice. So good job there. Now, how comma plus verb ing modifier is making sense here? You may have a question that, hey, it is the photograph that revealed a degree of cratering, but we do not have photograph anywhere in the sentence, and that is why we take help of the comma plus verb ing modifier to put everything together. Again, if we look at the first part of the sentence, it says that a large area of the surface of Mercury was photographed from varying distances. And then the information that we get through the usage of comma plus verb ing modifier here is actually presenting some information that is related to my preceding action, right? So here we have that generic description of the preceding action or of the modified action. In the process that Mercury was photographed, the surface also revealed through the photographs a degree of cratering similar to degree of cratering of the moon. That is what that stands for. So choice C is absolutely correct, because it supports or it presents logical information about the modified entity. Okay. Choice D is wrong, because that interconnection between was photographed and something related to that, which is revealing, has been taken away by the use of and revealed, because now there are they are two distinct entities. This part of the sentence, a large area of the surface of Mercury revealed cratering similar to similar in degree, has got nothing to do with the action of being photographed. So these actions are absolutely independent, and we know that that is not the case, because the action of photography led to the revelation of the cratering on the surface of Mercury. Okay, and then again, we have the similar in degree to the moon. That comparison is also off, so none of you selected choice D. My guess is that you could identify the comparison error. Once again, choice E, you can definitely reject, because if we rejected which revealed, obviously there is no question that we can accept that revealed in this sentence. Although the comparison is fine, but which talks about varying distances, and that also talks about varying distances. So, most definitely, choice E is out, and choice C indeed is the correct answer. Here we have little more description about what's going on in choices B and choices D. So you can take a look at that. And I have already explained to you why the usage of the verb ing modifier is correct in this sentence. I hope it is all clear to you. And with this, we are ready to go to our next question. Are we all ready for our second question? Let's quickly get a thumbs up from all of you. Okay, I guess yes, we are all ready. So the drill remains the same. On your chat, you will see a link for the second question. Yeah, Jui is going to put in the question link. And here comes your second question. 2 minutes again. Solve this question. Once again, pay attention to the meaning. That is our main thing over here. All the best, guys. Your time starts now. All right, our 2 minutes are over. I can see a few dones here. I mean, I see one. Let's see. Arvind, the link is right there. Answer question 2 here. You see, it's been given by GMAT Club. It's already there. And I've gotten quite a few responses for this question as well. Um, all right. So, Bin Bole Dasta, please do not put your responses here. The whole idea of, doing the MS Office link is to make sure that we do not bias anybody else's, um, selection over here. Okay. Let's begin with, okay, Arvind, you might take a little time. Um, but yeah, I guess we will begin with the analysis here. And I'm looking at your attempts, and with whatever attempts we have gotten, this one has been spread across answer choices, although most of you did land on the uh, correct. Okay, let me see. Wait, I don't think I'm looking at the right one. Yeah, most of you landed on the right one. But still, let's take a deep dive into this question. Now, what's happening here? Once again, we are going to do it the e-GMAT way. It's a long sentence. There is no way I can read the entire sentence in one go. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to break it down into smaller chunks. So the sentence says astronomers have uncovered evidence. Okay, so some astronomers, they have uncovered some evidence. Now, probably the sentence will talk about that evidence. Let's read further, that a star. Okay, so probably this evidence is about this star. What about this star? That was as bright as the full moon. Okay, so this star was as bright as the full moon, exploding into view 340,000 years ago. Okay, so now the sentence is telling me that it is the full moon that exploded into view 340,000 years ago. Okay, I'm not very convinced here, but anyway, we will first read the sentence. Then we have the comma plus verb-ing modifier over here. Okay, so emitting dazzling radiation. Okay, so it seems to me that the sentence is trying to say that this action of explosion into the view led to or resulted in emitting dazzling radiation. This radiation, because we have that over here, this radiation could have disrupted Earth's protective ozone layer and could have sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. So this is what the sentence is trying to say. However, I am not quite convinced. I mean, basically, if I put everything together, what it appears to me is that, okay, the evidence is about the star. And what is that evidence? The evidence is that there was a star which was as bright as a full moon. So it was very conspicuous, probably, and it came into view some 340,000 years ago. It exploded into view. And when this star exploded into view 340,000 years ago, it emitted dazzling radiation. And that radiation, um, astronomers believe there is a possibility that it could have disrupted or it could have destroyed our Earth's protective ozone layer, and probably could have sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. So this is what the meaning of the sentence is. However, one thing we must notice here, in our first sentence, the meaning conveyed by the original sentence was logical. Yes, it had grammatical errors, but we could understand the meaning of the sentence. There was nothing illogical about the meaning of that sentence. But this sentence actually presents illogical meaning. Why? Because the way the sentence is written, it tells us that the full moon exploded into view. But we know that the sentence is not about the full moon. The sentence is about star. Full moon has been mentioned just to let us know how bright that star was, you know. So this exploding actually should be talking about, should be connected with star and not with full moon. So what did we do here? When the sentence did not present the logical meaning, we again pieced each and every piece of information together and we tried to extract the logical meaning. We have not moved on to the error analysis yet because first we want to make sure what is the meaning that the sentence must present. And this is what we have here. So now that we understand, okay, so definitely we had a problem with exploding. This is the grammar error that is making the meaning of the sentence absolutely illogical. So now let's do the answer choice analysis and find out what's going on. So definitely full moon exploding is wrong. Also, you can see another point here. You remember when we were talking about the structure of the comma plus verb ing modifier, we said that it must be placed after a subject verb pair. But if you see, we know that it should talk about star that exploded, and that action of explosion led to the emission of the dazzling radiation. But because exploding is not in the correct form, we do not even have this comma plus verb ing modifier cannot really modify that action. Another thing is happening over here is that this noun star doesn't even have a verb, right? It doesn't have a verb. That is star. Yes, we started talking about the star, but what did this star do? We have no idea because the sentence does not present the verb for it. So now let's think about it. I was just thinking when I looked at this original sentence, and I'm still not talking about the answer choices, that if I turn exploding into exploded, that way we will get a verb for the star. So that's my first error will be taken care of. The meaning error will be fixed because the sentence will no more say that full moon exploded. It will say that the star exploded, and then the comma plus verb ing modifier will have a proper action to modify, which will be exploded. So just changing this one word in my original sentence, I can make this sentence correct. And that's exactly what choice B does. And that is our correct answer, right? All we did was changed exploding into exploded and got the correct answer. So choice B indeed is the correct answer. Anshuman is asking, how can we write exploded and emitting? Anshuman, I frankly don't understand what you're trying to say here, but this usage is absolutely correct because exploded is the verb which is modified by the comma plus verb ing modifier emitting dazzling radiation. And we know that comma plus verb ing modifiers acts as action modifier. It modifies the preceding action, and that preceding action is exploded. So star exploded into view, and as a result, it emitted dazzling radiation. So choice B indeed is the correct answer. All right. Does that make sense, Anshuman? All right. Choice C. Let's see what we have here. Evidence of a star. Now, what is happening in this choice is that of a star is wrong. Why? Not because we cannot, evidence always have to be followed by that. No, that is not the thing. The thing over here is that, see, what happens when we use evidence of a star, okay, that was as bright as the full moon exploding. We all know that we don't want full moon exploding because then exploding is talking about full moon, not the star, and that is not the intended meaning. So we definitely have an error here. Into view 340,000 years ago, and that it emitted. Now again, the connection, that cause and effect, that the cause is the explosion and the result is the emission of dazzling radiation, is totally broken in choice C. So definitely they look parallel. Yes, that was as bright as the full moon and that it emitted, but The problem over here is that, I mean, they are not even parallel, to be honest. Why? Because this that is a noun modifier. It is talking about the star, but this that is actually a connector. So that way also we definitely have an issue in this sentence. These two that's do not perform the same action. That is there. But again, the whole meaning of this sentence is wrong, because that cause and effect relationship is not there. And exploding is now talking about full moon, which we don't want. So, of course, choice C is wrong. Okay. Choice D repeats the same error. We don't want of a star in this sentence. As bright as the full moon, exploding into view. I frankly, exploding into view is again talking about full moon, because we do not have any action in the sentence. However, there is another way of looking at this. Because we don't have any action in the underlined portion of the sentence, if we go back in the sentence, what do we have here? Astronomers have uncovered evidence of a star as bright as the full moon, comma plus verb-ing modifier. So now, comma plus exploding is actually modifying the action have uncovered. Does that make sense? Most definitely not. The explosion is not the outcome of the uncovering of the evidence. So my meaning is absolutely incorrect in this sentence. Second criteria: who is exploding into view? According to choice D, it is the astronomers who exploded into view. And that is absolutely wrong. And the same thing is happening with another comma plus verb ing modifier in the sentence, emitting. Because there is no verb for star, exploded, now both these comma plus verb ing modifiers illogically connect with astronomers have uncovered evidence and present absolutely illogical meaning. So they 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 have wrong meaning. They are not associating logically with the modified action. Everything is wrong about choice D, although it looks grammatically correct. Grammatically, it's fine. Evidence of a star as bright as the full moon is fine. Then you have two comma plus verb ing modifiers after an action. Absolutely fine. Grammatically, there is no flaw in choice D, but definitely the meaning is totally off. Okay. Let's take a look at choice E. Evidence of a star as full as bright as the full moon that exploded. Needless to say that that is talking about full moon here, and it says that full moon exploded and the full moon emitted dazzling radiation. You can see the sentence structure on the right hand side of the screen, and you know the meaning that it presents. Another example of a grammatically correct answer choice. Grammatically, no flaw in here, but meaning wise, choice E again is totally out, absolutely out, does not present the meaning that it should. Okay. um I have a few questions on chat which I would like to take. Akhil, you says, isn't astronomers the subject of the first clause and emitting is modifying the? It's not modifying the subject. Akhil, I think I explained that to you. It is associating with astronomers, and definitely that is incorrect. And I explained, like in choice D, the way it is written, it seems to suggest that exploding is the result of have uncovered, and in the process of uncovering the evidence, astronomers exploded into view. That is definitely not right, definitely incorrect. So we've already spoken about that. Shaurya, please explain to which that is referring to. That is referring to full moon in choice E, Shaurya. No point. Okay. In A and B, okay. In A, this that is talking about a star. Okay. So the first that is not, okay. So I think you're talking about this that. This that is not a modifier, Shaurya. It is not a modifier. Be 100% sure of that. Astronomers have uncovered evidence that a star was as bright as the full moon. So that in choices A and B is a connector that is connecting the preceding independent clause with the following. I mean, in choice B, it is connecting it with the rest of the sentence, which is a dependent clause. Okay. So this distinction also you must be able to make, that what is the function of that in this sentence, right? Does that answer your question? All right. So with this, yeah, we are just talking about, how we could eliminate answer choices. Full moon exploding, full moon that exploded, this is definitely not the meaning that we wanted. And of course, um yeah, most many, as I told you, choice E is I mean, a lot of people choose choice E. Grammatically there is no issue here, but definitely the meaning is completely off. Okay, so let's do a little quick takeaway thing over here. Do not stay on the surface of the sentence. What we mean by that is, do not just read the sentence for the sake of reading and move on to the answer choices. It's not going to do you any good. I have been dealing with students who have not been able to perform well in SC, and when I ask them to do the analysis, I see that they just read the sentence and they see, okay, subject verb modifier, this that parallelism, all of these grammar stuff, and they move on to the answer choices, and they think that the answer choices are going to help them in understand the meaning of the sentence. If you are one of them, let me tell you, answer choices will not speak to you if you have not spent enough time with the original sentence to understand the intended meaning, because the fragments of the sentence will not clarify the meaning for you. The entire sentence with the complete context, with all pieces of information in there, will present some meaning to you. So get into that habit. Make it a point that the moment you see an SC sentence, block out the answer choices. You work with the original sentence, extract the meaning, create your logical framework, and then use that logic to choose the correct grammar in the answer choices. If you do that work up front, you will save a lot of time and you will see your accuracy going up as well. Okay. Now, with this, let's talk about, so at e-GMAT, we don't only give you the content to prepare for subject. At e-GMAT, we are like one-stop shop for your GMAT preparation, because we give you all the strategic help that you require to reach your score. Now, all of you have a dream score. So all of your destinations are different. Different people have different scores. Different people may be at different level of preparation, at different level of abilities, right? So not all of you will have the same route to reach your destination. So our study plans are, our strategic strategy experts, they are like the navigators who are going to chalk out exactly the path you require, suited to your needs to reach your goals. And yeah, I just let me just go back here. And if I go back here, what I wanted to present to you is that, you know um, take a use of this study plan, schedule a meeting with our experts, and they will help you to reach your goals, because you will get a very personalized advice on how to reach your goal. Now, we have kind of shortlisted the few very common problems that students come up with. So you can choose any of this. I mean, book your free call. You can see on your chat, the link is already there. If you go to that link, you can pick what is your exact problem, And when you click on that, you can book a call with you'll be able to read a few of the debriefs by the students. For example, Nishant Panigrahi, he had the timing issue, but how did he conquer that 740 V41 Q49? So how did he conquer it? That's what is given in this. You can read of similar debriefs of different students who had different issues, but working with e-GMAT, they were able to conquer it. So I would say, without wasting any time, just book your slot, because they get filled up really fast. There is no charge for it. It's free of cost. Our strategy experts are right there to help you chalk out your personalized way of achieving your dream score with the ability that you have. All right. So please do so. And with this, yep, all the details are there. Put in your details and you should be there. Okay, those who are e-GMAT student, you already have the strategy experts working with you. So make sure that you take full advantage of this study plan. Okay, get your study plan. If you haven't gotten it, get in touch with our strategy experts and they'll help you out with that. Once again, a reminder, only till Saturday you have access to all these free uh, concepts that we have. Come experience how e-GMAT teaches us, each and how e-GMAT teachers teach. Each and every SME out there is, their only goal is to keep providing you with better and better content for your better learning experience. Also, this Saturday, we have our reading comprehension um, session. I'll be there along with Harsha. Harsha will present half of it, I'll present half of it. So, if reading comprehension is your problem, come join us. We'll help you ace reading comprehension as well. You'll start loving this section. On Sunday, we have our algebra um, session. So yes, if you're still struggling with quant, you need a little boost, you need a little uh, work to be done with algebra, with your quant. Algebra being the problem, come join us on Sunday. All these sessions are free. The links are on the chat. Please click on them, register yourself so that you do not miss out on these opportunities. Okay. So, with this, we have now come to the third question in this session. Okay. Another beautiful official question. Looks very simple. Butterflies, how pretty could that be? Looks very simple, but it's a tough one. So, pay attention. 2 minutes. The link will be up soon on the thing. All right, so you'll find the link. With this, I'll start the timer as soon as I see that the link for the third question has been shared, and then we'll start the analysis. All the best. All right, the moment you guys are done, please write in chat done so that I know that most of you are back. 2 minutes are over. I'm waiting for you guys. Arvind, how do you know that it's wrong? Let's wait. Let's wait for the analysis. Sarthak, please no putting your responses here. We still have students who are answering the question. All right, let's get started with this. I guess most of you are back, so that should be good. All righty. Okay, I again see that the results are quite scattered. So okay, doesn't matter. Let's just deal with this sentence over here. Even if the sentence is pretty squiggly, I would still not read it in one go because I need to understand the meaning of the sentence nicely, and I will do so by breaking this sentence into two parts. My first part is butterflies come in more than 17,000 species. Nothing to describe here. Let's move on. Displaying a wing pattern unique to each one. So here we have a clause, then we have a comma, and we have a comma plus verb ing modifier. So surely we are dealing with a comma plus verb ing modifier here. Now, the sentence, the way it is written, it is saying that butterflies come in 17,000 species, right? And then it says that because they come in more than 17,000 species, they display, or each species probably display, a wing pattern unique to each one. Rather, this sentence is saying that because they come in 17,000 species, butterflies display a wing pattern unique to each one. That means every single butterfly has a unique wing pattern. Well, that is not the logical meaning. The sentence doesn't, is that, first of all, probably it could be that every butterfly has a different unique wing pattern, but does it make sense to say that because they appear in 17,000 species, that is the reason why they display they display unique wing pattern, each of them? No, this cause and effect is not right. Also, okay, you say, why are we only looking at the result? Why not looking at the how aspect of it? Okay, let's try that. Butterflies come in more than 17,000 species by displaying a wing pattern. Most definitely, that is not the intended meaning at all. So we know that the usage of the comma plus verb ing modifier is absolutely incorrect, because the meaning that we are getting here is definitely incorrect. It's definitely not right. So, what could be the meaning over here? The meaning is that, well, okay, we understand that butterflies come in more than 17,000 species, and probably every species display a wing pattern which is unique to each of these species. That could be one meaning. But definitely, this modifier has got nothing to do with the action in the sentence. It's got nothing to do with that. So that is what we need to fix in our answer choice. So once we have done this thorough analysis of the meaning, again, we had to infer the meaning because the meaning presented by the sentence is absolutely illogical. We now we have also identified that this illogical meaning is the outcome of the incorrect grammar that has been used in the sentence. We don't want comma plus verb ing modifier. But mind you, comma is in the non-underlined portion of the sentence. So we need a modifier that will talk about more than 17,000 species, because it's the 17,000 species. Each species has a unique wind pattern. That's all we need to look for in the correct answer. So, see, this is the beauty of understanding the logic of the sentence so well, because when you do that, you exactly know what should be my logic and what grammar shall I use to present that logic. And that's why we stress so much on spending this time upfront with the original sentence. Okay. So, with this understanding, let's now move on to our answer choice analysis. And this is what we see here. Um, Displaying is definitely wrong because it has got nothing to do with the action. Same problem with choice B. Most of you were able to eliminate these two choices. Many of you fell for choice C, but choice C is not the correct answer because, I mean, yes, it corrects the modifier issue over here. We don't have the action modifier anywhere, but the sentence is talking about unique wing pattern in every species. But when you say uniquely displaying, unique is no more talking about the wing pattern. Uniquely has become an adverb over here, which is now talking about the action displaying. That means they may not have a unique wing pattern, but every species uniquely displays the wing pattern. So there is definitely meaning problem when we change the adjective unique to adverb uniquely. Choice E has the same problem, although, I mean, a lot of you fell for this one as well. But once again, uniquely is wrong. The correct answer choice here is each of which modifies the preceding noun more than 17,000 species, each of which displays a unique wing pattern. And that indeed is the correct answer. Okay, so the poll is giving. Okay, yeah, good. Poll is giving results. So nice. At least, the moment you are done with the question, you know whether you got it right or not. Okay, so um, okay, Rajiv, thank you for that suggestion. We'll definitely try to do so. Okay, so Arvind, oh, you checked the results already. Okay. All right. So choice D indeed is the correct answer. And if this was the thing, I mean, now you know why each and every answer choice is incorrect. Sarthak, how to deal with questions which have almost entire question underlined? Sarthak, there is no different. See, there has to be only one approach to solve each and every kind of sentence correction question. We do not suggest that you have this approach for this kind of a question, that approach for that kind of a question, because think about it. When you are sitting in an exam, how many approaches are you going to keep in mind? And would you like to spend that kind of time to first decide whether you want this approach or that approach or what approach? No. At e-GMAT, that's why we say we just have one approach that works on every kind of SC problem. No matter it is fully underlined, just one word underlined, 50%, whatever is the percentage of the underlined portion, the process works, the approach works. Why? Because the first thing that you're doing is that you are spending time with the original sentence, irrespective of what is underlined and what is not underlined, because you are first trying to understand the intended meaning of the sentence. And you cannot understand the meaning of the sentence if you're focusing on the sentence partially. Yes, this is our tendency, that we generally tend to look at only the underlying portion of the sentence. But that approach is wrong, because if you need to understand you see, what is language? Why do we communicate? We communicate, be it written or be it verbal. We communicate because we need to present a logic. So, first, we need to frame the logic in our head, And then we decide what grammar we are going to use to present that logic. The same, why do you think GMAT even tests you on sentence correction when you become MEAs, when you hold good posts in the companies where you would be working? Would you be given a bunch of files where you will be asked to correct sentences? No. The whole idea of this exercise is that how well you are able to understand and interpret or extract the meaning that is presented through that sentence. That's the whole idea of having sentence structure in your GMAT, right? So doesn't matter. It is a fully underlined sentence, one word underlined, two word underlined. Your first job is to spend that time with the original sentence to extract the meaning. When you extract the meaning, you are 100% sure that, okay, author wants to say this. Now you look at the underlined portion of the sentence to figure out that, okay, if the sentence is not logical, why did I get this illogical meaning? And that's what we did with the butterfly sentence also. My sentence, the way it is written, it is telling me that because butterflies appear in so many species, that's why it displays as if they appeared in 16,000 species or 20,000 species, they would not have done so. No, that meaning is illogical. And why that? So first I determined that yes, my meaning is logical. And why are we getting this meaning wrong? The sentence is presenting wrong meaning because now this is my second step. The grammar used in the sentence is not right. I don't want an action modifier in this sentence. I want a modifier for more than 17,000 species, because the unique wing pattern should be talking is the characteristics of each and every species. Okay, so this method works for, yes, you will take time to internalize the process. It all sounds very lengthy, very time consuming. Yes, it is time consuming, it is lengthy, but it's a new approach that you're looking at. Every time you've picked up a new skill to learn, you've always taken time till it became mechanical to you. Think about when you started, started to take driving lessons, for that matter. Initially you took so long, you were so conscious, you were doing each and every step, that hand and leg and mind and eye coordination all at the same time. You were so cautious, so upright, right, on the steering wheels, and looking, holding the steering wheel like this, because you are totally concentrating, and you were taking each and every step very, very consciously. So that time is involved in that. But once you started driving more frequently, things became very, very mechanical. And now you have internalized the process. So you sit back, you relax, you drive, and you've developed the muscle memory for that. So that muscle memory you will develop for this meaning based approach also, once you have applied this approach on good 25 to 30 questions. That's when the process starts to become mechanical to you. And then the accuracy just shoots up. Okay. Yeah. So, long answer to your short question, Sarthak. Okay. Anmol, what if there was each displaying a unique pattern? Each displaying a unique pattern is also correct, Anmol. But once again, do not, another piece of advice, do not enter the territory of what if, because that territory is absolutely unlimited. There can be unlimited what if questions, and there can be so many answers to your what if questions. So just focus on what is given, because in any case in GMAT we don't have that option of, okay, can we change anything in the underlying portion? No, we cannot. That option is not there with us. So what we can do is that we can only pay attention to what is there in the sentence. Just remain focused on what is at hand and try to learn from these beautiful official questions why the correct answer choice is correct and why the incorrect answer choice is incorrect. So we at e-GMAT, we strongly discourage our students to venture into the territory of what if, because there can be unlimited what if questions. I don't want to even put a number on it. Okay, so that's my answer to your question. Only grammatical approach is not worthy at all, Arvind. No, it is not, because if you look at this sentence, butterfly question, grammatically there is no issue over here. Grammatically, this answer choice is absolutely, I mean, grammatically the sentence is absolutely fine. But once again, we know that the meaning is all totally off in this sentence. I mean, you have a comma plus verb ing modifier which is placed after a clause, so grammatically everything fine, but the meaning is all off here, completely off. That's what we saw with the star exploding. Choices D and E, grammatically they were pristine, no issues with those two answer choices, but the meaning that they presented was absolutely bizarre, absolutely incorrect, not fitting into the context of it. Another thing I would say, Arvind, is that as your questions become to get tougher, they don't test you so much on grammar, because very obvious grammatical errors are easy to catch. It is the logic that they start playing on. So if you don't pay attention at all to the logic and you only count on your grammar, you will not be able to go, I mean, you will be able to solve a few questions. I'm not saying that easy questions, probably yes, of course, medium, yes, maybe 50% of them, but difficult questions only with the help of grammar, I doubt. That's not been my experience, at least. Okay. All right. So there you go. Okay. So with this, let's come to our last question. Disclaimer before I show you this question: this is the most difficult question of all the questions that we have solved. You require your logical hat on and active, become logically involved with the sentence. Okay, ask a lot of questions. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? When you answer this question. Okay, but before I say that, I came in late. Could you please repeat the reason why displaying is wrong? Is it because of ambiguous antecedent? Anmol, it's not ambiguous antecedent. uh, the meaning, basically it is presenting cause and effect, that because butterflies come in so many species, that's why it displays each it displays unique wing pattern. I mean, each one of them display unique wing pattern. So the whole meaning is wrong. That cause and effect, are we trying to say that if butterflies were available in more than 20,000 species, they would not have had unique wing pattern? Are we trying to say that? So their being available or their appearing in 17,000 species, has that action has got nothing to do with unique the display of unique wing pattern. Okay. Sarthak, where can I find resources to practice questions in order difficult level? Sarthak, OG is the best resource. Again, at e-GMAT, we tell our students only stick to official questions, because they are the true representatives of the questions that you're going to face on your exam, and they come from the test takers. I mean, test makers, not test takers, sorry. They come from the test makers. So any concept that they test, they have lots of questions on that. So stick to the official questions always. That would be my answer to your question. Okay. So with this, let's move on to question number 4, our last question. It's a long one. It's a heavy. I mean to say heavy in terms of context. So let's do this question. Once you are done answering the question, please let me know on the chat that you're back, because I don't want to rush you guys through this question, because this will require um, a lot of logical analysis. The link is right there on the chat box. So moment you are done answering the question, come back and let me know that you're done. Okay. All the very best, guys. Oops. Please do not put in your responses in the chat. Rajiv, you can open the MS form link and there you can attempt the question and you will know whether your answer is right or not. Okay? Let's not put it over here. Do let me know if you come back because I don't want you to miss any part of the analysis here. All right, guys, I guess I will start with the analysis. Let's have a quick. Okay, Anmol is back. Can I hear from some of you also other than all right. Okay. All right. Okay, let's begin the analysis. I was just looking at your responses. Now it shows, I mean, it looks like most of you landed on the correct answer choice, but it's time to figure out whether you chose the right answer choice for the right reason or not, because you have to be 100% confident about, um, you know, whether you made the right selection for the right reason or not. Okay, let's move on with this one. Very context heavy sentence. Pretty long, lot of things going on, lot of layers. So let's read the sentence by first breaking it down bit by bit. About 5 million acres in the United States have been invaded by leafy spurge. So a huge land area in the US has been invaded by something called leafy spurge, and the author kindly explains to us what a leafy spurge is. It's a herbaceous plant. Even if I don't understand the meaning of herbaceous, it's fine because we know that it's some kind of a plant that came from Eurasia. It contains milky sap. This milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle. So far, so good. The problem begins from here because when I read comma plus verb ing, displacing grasses and other cattle food, the meaning that I'm getting here is that because milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle, in this process, the milky sap as a result displaces grasses and other cattle food. Now, if I were to ask you this quick question, do you think that this meaning is logical? This cause and effect is logical in the sentence? That because milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle, as a result, it displaces grasses and other cattle food? Looks like all of you are thinking. Well, this meaning is definitely not logical because if we look into the context of the sentence, the action of displacing is not done by milky sap. It is done, thanks for your response, Anmol. It is actually done by leafy spurge because one kind of vegetation can be displaced by another kind of vegetation. Milky sap cannot displace grasses and other cattle food. So that's my first meaning error that I find out. And that meaning error has happened because of the wrong grammar that has been used. I mean, the incorrect entity. I wouldn't say that the grammar is wrong, but we don't need an action modifier at this place in my sentence. The sentence presents another outcome of giving mouth sores to cattle, which is rendering rangeland worthless. That means the grazing grounds become useless. Once again, if we logically ask questions, we understand that rendering rangeland worthless is not the outcome of milky sap giving mouth sore because milky sap in the process of giving mouth sore does not end up making the grazing grounds useless. So, if we were to think a little bit more into a lot of you did choose choice A. If I look at your responses, yes, indeed, many of you chose choice A, which again is grammatically right, but meaning wise is completely off. Why? Because, as I told you, displacing grasses, milky sap is not doing that action. Rendering rangeland worthless, milky sap is not doing that action. Why the grazing grounds become useless? If we try to connect the logical dots in the sentence, what I call is putting 2 plus 2, I mean, that's a general thing. When you put 2 plus 2 together, we understand that because leafy spurge displaces grasses and other cattle food, the result of this action is that the grazing grounds become useless because from the context of the sentence we can infer that cattle will not go to eat leaves on a patch where leafy spurge is growing now, because when they eat leafy spurge they get mouth sores and nobody wants to be in pain, right? So the second action over here is actually the outcome of the displacement of grasses. So the sentence, so grammatically again the sentence is right. We have a clause, then comma, and then two verb ing modifiers. So grammatically no issue with the sentence, but meaning is totally off because displacing, this action should be connected with leafy spurge because leafy spurge displaces grasses, and then rendering rangeland worthless should be presented as the outcome of the displacement of grasses by leafy spurge. So, with this understanding in the meaning, again, the meaning was absolutely off in the sentence. As we did a deep dive into the meaning of the sentence, we understood that how the meaning was so very off, right? So, what we had to do, without looking at the answer choices, we first worked with each and every piece of information given in the sentence and we tried to connect them logically to get a logical story. I always compare sentence correction and, because we do this sentence structure, I consider each and every chunk as a puzzle piece. So when you solve a puzzle, you look at each and every piece and you pick up visual clues, right? Suppose if it's a dinosaur, you pick up a tail and you know that okay, the tail has to be connected to the torso, so you look for torso, then torso leads you to okay, it should be connected with hands, and then the head, and then the mouth, and then the eyes. So we pick up those logical the visual clues to put our puzzle together to get the complete picture. Same thing happens in SC also. all these different parts of the sentence are like different pieces in the puzzle. But here, my clue is logic, not visual clues, but logical clues. And when I connect my logical dots with each and every part of the sentence, that's when I can understand the story that the author wants to communicate through this sentence. Okay. And that's the beauty of our meaning based approach, because when you do this kind of an analysis, you first understand what is it that the author wants to convey. And I'm repeating it over again, that then we decide the logic according to the meaning. So we've already spoken about all of this. What are different information that the sentence is presenting? We asked all of these questions, and we did come to the conclusion that the meaning presented by the sentence is absolutely illogical. Okay, so let's move on with this. So now we know for sure that choice B is incorrect because the usage of the 2 comma plus verb ing modifiers is wrong. Now take a look at choice B, and most of you landed up on choice B, but through this analysis, just ask yourself this question: that did you do this kind of analysis while you were looking at choice B? So about 5 million acres in the United States have been invaded by leafy spurge, a herbaceous plant from Eurasia with milky sap that gives mouth sores to cattle. And I think the and is missing over here. There has to be an and displaces, yes, and displaces grasses and other cattle food. And then we have rendering rangeland worthless. So what this sentence is saying, that everything is fine till here, this that we see in the sentence is now actually talking about a herbaceous plant, which is equal to a leafy spurge, because according to the sentence, leafy spurge is a herbaceous plant. So it's okay. That is talking about herbaceous plant. And why that can jump over with milky sap to modify a herbaceous plant? Because this modifier is placed between 2 commas, and we cannot place it anywhere else, because with milky sap is also talking about herbaceous plant. So if you go to GMAT Club, we have a very popular article over there which says noun modifiers can modify faraway noun. And in that modifier, we have laid down all the conditions under which a noun modifier such as that can jump the preceding modifier, which we have here with milky sap, to modify a little far away noun. So this is, in the GMAT world, what we commonly known as the touch rule for the usage of that, and which that rule is, it's little tweaked, I would say. I wouldn't say that it's broken. No, it's not broken. It's little tweaked. It's little modified. So here that is talking about a herbaceous plant. So according to choice B, it is the herbaceous plant that gives mouth sores to cattle, and it is the herbaceous plant that displaces grasses and other cattle food. So this meaning is absolutely right. It is, I mean, this is what we were looking for. We wanted an answer choice that would connect the action of displacement with leafy spurge, and this is what choice B does. And then the last part of the sentence is also right, because now comma plus verb ing modifier rendering rangeland worthless is now modifying the action that displaces grasses and other cattle food. So because a herbaceous plant displaces grasses and other cattle food, in this action, leafy spurge makes the grazing ground useless. Now, I know that a lot of students reject choice B because they say, okay, you've been talking about meaning based approach, don't change the meaning of the sentence. But here you are telling that, I mean, the original sentence says that milky sap gives mouth sore. But choice B is saying that leafy spurge is giving mouth sore. Is that not meaning change? Now, if I were to ask you question, Do you think that choice B is really changing the meaning by saying that leafy spurge gives mouth sore and not the milky sap gives mouth sore? What would be your answer to that question? Anybody? Any takers? Do you think that there is a meaning change? Because this choice is now saying that leafy spurge. Sap gives sores. Okay. So Jaideep, and plant displaces grasses. Okay. No, that is not. No. So Jaideep and Anmol, I'll address that question. Yeah, I understood that you're saying that sap gives source, but you're saying that plant displaces grasses. So you're saying that I don't know. I mean, grammatically, that is not possible what you're saying, Jaideep. Because when you have gives mouth source to cattle and displaces grasses, that means both the verbs gives and displaces must connect to one single subject. Jaideep logged on to YouTube and watched or and attended the e-GMAT webinar. Okay, so when you have two verbs connected by and, they will always belong to one subject only. So basically, the thing to understand over here is that leafy spurge and milky sap are not mutually exclusive entities. It's not that leafy spurge exists on its own and milky sap exists on its own. Okay, leafy spurge carries milky sap. Not that the cattle are licking milky sap and that's why they are getting mouth sore. No, they go to eat leafy spurge because that's another kind of food for them. But when they start chewing the leafy spurge, the milky sap is secreted, and that's how they get mouth sore. So it is not change in the meaning when we say that, hey, leafy spurge gives mouth sore. Because leafy, I mean, we get more technical that yes, leafy spurge contains milky sap and that's why it gives mouth sore. But there is no change in the meaning. It's the same thing to say that milky sap gives mouth sore or leafy spurge gives mouth sore, because milky sap is contained by leafy spurge. Does that make sense? Stefano, how do I know gives and displaces doesn't modify the milky sap? Stefano, does it make sense to say that milky sap displaces grasses and other cattle food? What is the meaning of displace? Replacing something, right? So, can milky sap replace grass and cattle food? It's just the logical analysis that you need to do to understand the meaning of the sentence. The logic just does not make sense over here. Okay, can you say that rainwater uh, displaces weed on my backyard? No, displacement means replacement has to happen with some other vegetation. Okay, so, Jaideep, if you thought that way, you did not do the proper meaning analysis, because you treated milky sap as a different entity and leafy spurge as a different entity. And this is the kind of logic that I want you to think about, because these are the logical dots that you need to connect while you are analyzing the sentence. Okay. All right. So choice B is indeed incorrect. Yes, this is what we just discussed. That's the main reason why people reject choice B. Stefano, you have another question. I know it doesn't make sense, but the word that touches the milky sap. Once again, Stefano, I think I addressed that thing that, see, in any case, that is never preceded by a comma. I mean, if you go purely by the structural thing in GMAT, we know that that is not preceded by a comma, right? But you see a comma over there. Why? Because basically milk with milky sap is placed inside a comma. Because it is placed between two commas, that gets that liberty to jump to herbaceous plant from Eurasia. I will quickly present to you a link that you can go through this. Stefano, I would say please go through that. This modifier, this is one of the, I mean, we have gotten more than 350 kudos on this one. Okay, let me ask Juhi to do that. So on your screen, you will see a link that will take you to an article that we wrote for GMAT Club, and it talks about that whole touch rule that you're talking about. Okay, so you will learn something new through that, and you will see that there are so many official questions that actually employ this structure where it seems that it is violating the touch rule, but it is not really violating the touch rule. It is just another way. It's just the application bit of it that changes with these kind of structures over here. Okay. Yep. Shouldn't the cause of invasion produce an effect of displacing? In option B, the cause and effect is not getting clear. Naval, I don't agree to your analysis, because if you thought that in original answer choice, displacing and rendering, again, another student also did the same. And again, take a look at that. If you are thinking that displacing is actually modifying have been invaded, that is fine. I understand that because such a huge area has been invaded by leafy spurge. Leafy spurge has ended up displacing grasses and other cattle food. But the point to note here is that you remember I spoke about two criteria that a comma plus verb ing modifier must meet for the correct usage. The second criteria is that the subject must logically connect with the um, modifier. Now, does it make sense? I mean, the modified action and the doer of the modified action should be the same as the doer of the modifier action. Do you think that 5 million acres logically associate with displacing grasses? Basically, if you do that, you are saying that, okay, 5 million acres have been invaded, and so 5 million acres displaced grasses and or were displaced. Yeah, I mean, basically the action of displacing was done by 5 million acres of land. That is wrong. That is absolutely incorrect. So you looked at the modification, but you forgot the second criterion. And that's why, Naval, um, register at e-GMAT and make a good use of that free concept that we have on verb ing modifier. Okay, do that. With Milky Sab, between commas makes it non-essential. I mean, Shaurya, you can call it non-essential modifier. We do not term it like that. What I'm saying is that this structure gives that the liberty to jump over with Milky Sap and modify herbaceous plant. Okay. Okay. Let's now quickly move on to other answer choices. Choice C is wrong because now again, you look at this and it appears to you that, yeah, another answer choice that looks grammatically all right, but most definitely this choice is incorrect, because having and displacing cannot be parallel. Why? Because having is a quality of a herbaceous plant. It's a feature, it's a characteristic of herbaceous plant. But displacing grasses is one of the actions that is done by herbaceous plant. And we cannot have a feature and an action parallel in this sentence. So that's one problem. And another problem is the logical issue. Comma plus verb ing modifier rendering. Which action is it modifying? We have no idea because there is no clause before the comma in the sentence. Okay? There is no clause here. So that's the problem with this answer choice. Okay, let's move on to choice D now. This is what is happening in choice D. It is saying that it is the milky sap that gives mouth sore. Okay, I agree to that, that milky sap gives mouth sore. But once again, illogical meaning. Milky sap displaces grasses. No, milky sap is not displacing grasses. And milky sap makes the grazing grounds useless. Another illogical meaning. So, although these three entities in a parallel list look absolutely pretty, the meaning is totally off. Absolutely illogical meaning presented by the sentence. And if you look at the sentence structure properly, you will see that there is no verb for this subject, 5 million acres. So choice D is incorrect in both ways. It is incorrect logically also, and it is incorrect grammatically also. I was just trying to go back in here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's the problem with choice D. Now, let's take a look at choice E. Choice E again looks kind of nice and good, nice parallelism between giving mouth sores to cattle and displacing grasses. But this meaning is again illogical because milky sap does not displace grasses and other cattle food. And once again, comma plus verb ing modifier rendering, it does not have an action before it that it can modify, because what we have before comma is not a clause. And so we don't know what rendering is modifying. Okay. So, yep, choice E is also incorrect. So, as we found out, choice B indeed is the correct answer for this question. Okay. Everybody all good with me? You agree to what I said? Does the logic make sense to you in the sentence? I mean, this indeed is the logic. And this is how we should analyze the logic in the sentence. Why can't a characteristic or action be parallel? Sam is rich and is running in the marathon. I thought it was See, Jaydeep, I mean, uh, in terms of is rich and is run. Oh no, um, it's not parallel, Jaydeep. You think that it is parallel, but what you are trying to make parallel here is that rich and is running. So that's wrong. I mean, if you say that, okay, I'm talking about just is part and is running part, then probably you are saying that these are the two verbs. But technically, on e-GMAT, this particular sentence is incorrect because rich is acting, I mean, is rich is presenting a characteristic and is running is an action. So it looks parallel, but it is not parallel. On GMAT, this will be an incorrect sentence. It will be an incorrect sentence. B, that refers to, no, Anmol, B refers to this, that over here refers to a herbaceous plant. I I explained it to you that comma plus verb ing, I mean, the two commas here with milky sap, it just allows that to jump. Oh, oops. It just allows that modifier to jump over and modify herbaceous plant. Okay. Because it is between the two commas. Again, Anmol, there is a link that we have over here. Juhi posted it. Read the article here. If you go a few chats up, you will see that it's there. Read that article to understand this far away noun modification novel. It's on GMAT Club itself. Anmol, sorry. Can I conclude that the verb ing modifier should modify the subject action of the immediately preceding clause? That's what happens, Naval. But it does not modify the subject. It modifies the preceding action in the preceding clause, but it also has to logically connect with the subject. Okay. And again, go through the free trial. It's all free. So, just go through it. You will understand what's going to happen over there. Okay. Yeah. Basically, the commas allow that to jump over and do a little far away noun modification. All right. Isn't the comma right before that? Anmol, The comma before that is not for that. We have two commas which encloses with milky sap. So in choice B, if we remove with milky sap from the sentence, we will remove those two commas also. Okay, so the two commas are there to enclose with milky sap between them, so that gets the freedom to jump over it to modify a herbaceous plant. But if we remove with milky sap in the sentence, we will remove both the commas. There will be no comma before that. Make sense? So these are all the application part, Anmol, that you need to pay attention to. A lot of things. And you know, because we've not been taught that way, we don't look at the sentences this way, and that's what we teach at e-GMAT, that learning concepts is one thing, and applying them over a plethora of different kinds of, a plethora of sentence structure is a different thing altogether. So these things you have to, you need to develop these skills to, okay, I know my concept, I know that comma plus verb ing modifier is an action modifier, or for that matter, that is a noun modifier. It talks about the preceding noun. But if I have a sentence structure like this, what happens then? And there comes your application bit of it. Okay. So, yep, I would again say, um, you know, please make the full use of the free trial concepts. You will learn a lot from there. Okay, so this is our takeaway. Always consider author to be your friend, because he's trying to tell you something, and it becomes our responsibility to help author to convey that meaning logically. It does not matter what are the grammatical errors, how complex the sentence is, how long, what part of the sentence is underlined. What we need to do is that we first need to understand the story that the author wants to present, and then we help the author in correcting that sentence. So what we do through this process is that we try to get into the shoes of the author so that we can write correct sentences. Once again, I have been harping on it. Take your, make good use of these verb-ed modifiers. Asif, I guess you were talking about verb-ed modifiers. We have this modifier absolutely free for you. So go to e-GMAT platform, register yourself, no money at all. Take a look at all these modifiers that you want to learn about. They will definitely help you. Okay, once again, a quick reminder: on Saturday, meet me for reading comprehension webinar. I'll be there along with Harsha, another tremendously. He's just so good with RC. You will love the session. You'll fall in love with RC. If you feel that, oh no, RC is, I hate RC in verbal, that's my worst section, come to this webinar. I promise you'll fall in love with RC. It's going to be amazing. Once again, if you need any help with the algebra part of it, to boost your quant, come along and join us on Sunday for this webinar. Once again, also make a good use of the personalized study plan, because we have dedicated strategy experts and they are just so good at what they do. And you can read all the testimonials that we have. The testimonials speak for all our experts over there. So do take a good make a good use of this opportunity that you have and these services that we provide. Also, going forward from here, again, build your conceptual understanding of verb-ing modifiers. What I showed you was just I wouldn't say that it was the tip of the iceberg, but yeah, I mean, we we definitely need more than 2 hours to master the usage of verb-ing modifiers. So go back to the free trials, learn these modifiers, test your conceptual understanding through some easy questions, then move on to the GMAT-like questions to to answer them correctly, and repeat this for other topics. And our course is completely designed in that way, to to help you with progressively understand the concept and learn to apply the same. All right. Asif, thank you so very much for that. Really very, very grateful and thankful for this opportunity that I've had with you to share, to try to demystify this very fearful modifier over there, verb-ing modifiers. I hope that you enjoyed this session. You can leave me your feedback in the chat or in the comment box. If you like this session, please click on the like button. Do not forget to subscribe, because once you subscribe to our channel, everything that we are doing at e-GMAT, you will get to know about that. And we keep on putting out a lot of good learning material, and a lot of material that helps our that help test takers in general. I wouldn't say that they are designed only for our students. They are designed for everybody who's preparing to write the GMAT. Okay. Thank you so very much. Prepositional phrase. I will be okay. Okay, Asif. Recommendation noted. I'll go back to with my team and we'll see how we can go about that. All right. Thank you so very much, guys. And with this, I'll take your leave. Have a great rest of the day and rest of the week. See you soon. Bye bye.